How can the CEO use revenue assurance? Hi, this is Rob Mattison, the president of GRAPA, the Global Revenue Assurance Professionals Association. This week, we will be presenting the next presentation in our series, The Beginner's Guide to Revenue Assurance. In our previous presentations, we covered some of the basic questions that the stranger to telecoms might ask. We established that revenue assurance was a function unique to telecoms, and that the need that telecoms have for RA is usually caused by several factors, all concerned with the fast rate of change that telecom managers must face. Hyper-technology, the rapid deployment and integration of sophisticated and often experimental technologies. Hyper-marketing, the breakneck rate at which telecoms must continuously alter and increase their market profiles. And hyper-accountancy, the never-ending battle to modify business models, accounting approaches, and controls to keep up with these changes. We saw that revenue assurance was practiced in unique ways in each telco organization, but that in general it's employed to contain the four biggest risks to revenues: fraud, leakage, margin massacre, and marketing madness. We also saw that revenue assurance is able to add significant value through the application of the three key revenue assurance skills. And these are forensics, corrections, and compliance. And that we also saw that these functions were organized into what is known as the revenue assurance lifecycle. Given this background, we're ready to take on the next challenge, which is understanding exactly how the CEO or other manager can actually harness these disciplines to their best advantage. In the course of day-to-day operations, the telecom manager is continuously seeking out and processing information from hundreds of sources: standard accounting reports, operational managers, and a random or continuous stream of complaints, problems, and emergencies. The number of risk incidents that pop up from one day to the next may be low, but inevitably the manager must accumulate a backlog of risk that weigh upon his thinking and erode his confidence in his ability to make decisions. Telecom managers typically have a dramatic relationship with risk. If there are too few risks, then there is a good chance they're missing something. There are two sides to this risk problem. On the one hand, when things go wrong, people tend to panic, they start looking for someone to blame, and they set up a problem as one of finger pointing. This kind of blame gaming is usually of no value to the solving of the real underlying problems. On the other hand, when things are going well, the tendency is for managers to ignore the warning signs that might ruin the appearance of everything being in good shape. Neither method provides for an optimum solution. The manager has a number of options for mitigating or getting some control over that risk. These options will depend upon the nature of the risk, the severity of the problem, and the manager's own confidence in his teams. The decision to turn a problem over to internal audit, for example, can be effective, but usually takes a long time and leaves the manager with a mess to clean up, since internal audit doesn't fix problems, they only find them. On the other hand, turning problems over to a consultant can be very expensive, but more time effective. Among the options available to the executive is the opportunity to turn the problem over to the revenue assurance. Revenue assurance is a highly focused and specialized discipline, and turning it over to the revenue assurance person will provide the manager with certain clear advantages. First of all, the revenue assurance discipline focuses only on revenues and margins. In other words, they will not get diverted by issues regarding politics, the right way to do things, or whether the solution uses IT or not. The RA professional focuses on the money. Secondly, revenue assurance professionals employ a set of standard practices based on industry benchmarks. They employ what we call risk containment fields, which are a collection of industry standards-based tools for doing the revenue assurance job. And most importantly, the revenue assurance professional provides a 360-degree view of the problem, making sure that all aspects of the risk are taken into account before proposing a solution. The revenue assurance professional's risk containment fields, or risk control templates, provide the professional with industry standard-based lists of ways that decisions are made, ways to develop reports, the industry standard ways for organizing the business area and measuring the results. The risk containment field, as we call it, contains protocols, which are the industry standard practices for that business area, the controls, which are the industry standard methods for measuring and controlling it, and reports, which provide managers with standardized views for how to look at the risk and quantify it. The revenue assurance discipline and the standards provided by GRAPA provide the revenue assurance professional with a comprehensive set of templates that make it possible to assure any type or level of revenue risk with a simple set of tools. The templates are organized in alignment with the 4 levels of coverage provided by the revenue assurance team. The first level are the revenue operations controls. Each system involved in the capture, processing, and collection of revenues has a set of templates that make it easy for RA to assure it. At the second level are the revenue accounting controls. Revenue accounting controls allow the manager to assure that the revenue numbers being reported are accurate and auditable, and it's made possible by making sure that the underlying revenue operations controls are in place, thereby assuring the revenue accounting reports. Building on this foundation, the margin controls communicate the nature and accuracy of margins for different lines of business, promotions, and products, and the margin control sets are built upon the underlying operations and accounting components that make them possible. Ultimately, the highest and most critical level are the market controls. The market controls integrate all the lower level components while integrating the market risk, brand risk, and sales forecast dependability into the risk equation. So how do you do revenue assurance? How does the CEO make use of it? Well, the process is pretty simple and straightforward. Step 1, the manager turns the problem over to revenue assurance, and the revenue assurance professional maps the problem to the appropriate control pyramid. After doing that initial mapping, the revenue assurance professional is able to use the risk template, align it with the problem, and use the tools and components to get a good fundamental understanding of what the problem is, where the risks are, and what it's going to take to put them under control. Once this initial analysis is done, the findings are reported to management in the form of a risk report, and based upon that information, management then decides whether or not they want to initiate the ongoing risk mitigation cycle. Risk mitigation cycle is the ongoing monitoring, reporting, and adjustment of those risks based upon management's appetite for risk as communicated through a coverage posture. Once the risk mitigation cycle is initiated, revenue assurance continuously applies their forensics, corrections, and compliance disciplines in order to meet management's expectations. So ultimately, revenue assurance provides the biggest value to management because it provides a continuous monitoring of the different areas of risk that management has highlighted so that management doesn't have to worry about it. They keep the risks up front and make sure that management is aware when the problems are getting too big, whether management wants to know about it or not. They let everyone know when the risks have gone higher than management's tolerance, and they let management know when everything is the way management thinks it should be. So, when you're going to invoke revenue assurance from the C-level, there are several advantages to the manager. First of all, revenue assurance makes use of the industry standard benchmark-based controls that organizes the problems in a way that's comprehensive and straightforward. The second thing they do is make use of the reports, controls, and protocols. They provide for a consistent and systematic treatment of any risk anywhere in the crazy world of telecommunications. The revenue assurance professional provides for continuous monitoring of the risk. They are alarm-driven, making sure that management knows when problems are showing up, and they always focus on the revenue bottom line. Well, that's about enough for this week's installment of the Beginner's Guide to Revenue Assurance. Next time, you can get involved and find out more about how we organize the revenue assurance function for optimum value in the organization. That's enough for this week. Until next week, this is Rob Mattison saying, be safe.